Hey team, I'm Melissa Forsyth, the principal here at Liberty Middle School. And at Liberty, we follow the big three, where we do our best, we do what's right, and we treat others the way we want to be treated at all times. We understand that middle school is the prime time to get students talking about character and what they plan to do post-secondary. By incorporating soft skills into our daily motivation here at Liberty, we're getting students ready for whatever they choose: employment into the workforce, enrollment into college, or enlistment into the armed forces. We invited 2 local business owners, Rashad Jones from Big Lee's Barbecue and Jeromy Williams from Chick-Fil-a, to discuss the importance of work ethic, teamwork, positive attitude, and communication with our entire student body. Students in our career and technical education classes created questions for the gentlemen to answer in a live streaming video across campus. Afterwards, they spent time in the courtyard with our students, answering questions and actually signing some autographs as well. All really does mean all here at Liberty Middle School and across our district. We appreciate the support of our community in our efforts to make sure all students value these soft skills to get them ready for whatever lies ahead: employment, enrollment, or enlistment. We hope you enjoy this project.
These next set of questions relate to teamwork, coming from Ms. Stokes' 5th period Avid class. The class asked, why is teamwork important in any business?
Teamwork is super important in any business because Jeromy and I think we can both say that it'd be impossible to send all of our staff home and say, because I'm the leader, I can handle all this. It's just not humanly possible. I don't care how smart or strong or beautiful or handsome or whatever great qualities you have going on, you just simply can't do it all. A team is required, and it requires humility to realize that you can't do it all. It requires intelligence to realize that you can't do it all. And you have to give people an opportunity to shine, and that's what teamwork does. It gives everybody a chance to touch the ball, to make a play, to be able to make the crowd go wild. It's not just about us. So
I think for us, it's the leadership portion of that is where God's gifted us and made us very unique. People talk a lot about leadership, but the word I don't know if I've made it up or not, but I like the word fellowship. Because if you have just all leaders, it's not going to go real well. You're going to have a lot of type A personalities all wanting to say this is where we're heading. You need people that are just willingly great followers. So fellowship's really important. And what I think we realized in our businesses early on is some leaders make a mistake of they try to go out there and they want to be the best at everything in their business. And that is the biggest mistake you can make. So you actually are a smart business person if you go out and hire to all your weaknesses. And you have to get past your ego and realize that, you know what, I might be good at training and I want to be the best person training in my business, but I can't grow my business if that's what I'm doing all the time. So I want to go find somebody that's actually better than me at training. And so that's the whole team concept, is putting people with strengths and weaknesses together in a very unique setting, and then allowing them the opportunity to shine. And it's okay to screw up. That's the thing, is if you create an environment where you are fearful of making a mistake, you're going to create a horrible environment. We tell every leader and every team member we have, nod your head. Are you going to make a mistake? Yes. And you're going to make a million mistakes. All we say is don't make the same mistake a million times. That's our deal. But without question, teamwork makes it all work.
Thank you. Thank you. Angel asks, what do you look for in team members that work for your business?
So for me, when we talked about, you said it comes naturally to you just to be a happy person.
Yeah, right.
So I like to use a crazy example. So there's no such thing as a tree climbing business. Like there's people that cut trees down, but nobody owns a business that all you do is climb trees. But I like to use that example because if I owned a tree climbing business, do you think I would go out and hire a squirrel or hire a horse?
Squirrel.
Hopefully a squirrel, right? Because what do you have to do for a squirrel to get it to climb your tree?
Acorns.
You just open up the cage, and where's it go? It naturally climbs a tree. You can spend your whole life trying to teach this horse how to climb a tree, and you might be a bazillionaire if you end up teaching this horse how to climb a tree. But you're going to put all your energy and time teaching a horse to do something that's not natural, and more than likely is not going to happen. So for us, I'm looking for people that naturally love life. They wake up in the morning and want to know, how can we make this a better place? And so if you hire those people that are naturally gifted and geared toward what you do, For us, it's customer guest service. You can't go wrong.
Well, that's a great response. I think the things that we look for in team members are a good fit. I've found people that are really, really good at what they do, but for some reason, once they kind of mix in with the chemistry of the team, even though they're like a superstar, so to speak, it just doesn't fit well. It's like, if you have a group of friends and a random person shows up and it just kind of feels kind of awkward. You're like, you're a nice person, but I don't know if we're going to be friends. It's kind of like the same thing in business. Fit is so important because we spend a lot of time trying to create this dynamic of chemistry where, Jeromy mentioned how your strengths and weaknesses complement each other. Sometimes people just don't fit well, so fit is really important. The other thing that I look for is willingness to learn. I really shy away from know-it-alls. I'm the first person to say, I don't know. Because we've got a lot of resources to figure things out nowadays. And when someone, is kind of like a know-it-all, you can't really teach them much, and you can't really get too far with a person like that. And then all the basics, the soft skills, the dependability, the reliability, the hard work, the work ethic, the commitment, the leadership. Those things are things that are very, very important to any business. You can go to the greatest university, the greatest college, greatest middle school, Liberty Middle School, give it up. But if you don't have these soft skills, it makes it incredibly hard. We all know people that are smarter than us, but are you a hard worker? We all know people who are superstars at what they do, but are you honest? That's huge for me. If people aren't honest, I have to part ways with them. They might be the greatest worker, but if you lie to me, I can't trust you. So it's the soft skills, it's the hard work, it's the honesty, and it's being able to be a good fit within our organization. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Raquel asks, is it possible to have too many people on a team?
I'll let you take that one.
Raquel, yes, it is. I think it all depends. There's a point of saturation. So if you think about a sponge, it can only soak up so much water, and then it won't soak up anything else. So I can give you an example. At our restaurant, they're on 200 in front of Home Depot. We actually have over 125 employees for that one location. Most people are shocked when they hear that. So on a given Saturday at lunch, we literally can have 45 people working at one time. You can only put so many elbows and hips next to each other, and then it becomes you're in each other's way, right? So efficiency without question is important. I think a even better follow-up on that is it's never going to be about how many people you have. It's going to be the quality of people you have, because there's days we could probably do it with 35 people and it be amazing. Nobody goes home tired. Some days we have 45 people, and if they're not putting the work ethic into it and they're not putting their part, then it wouldn't matter if you had 50 people. So really it's not a numbers thing you're looking for, it's the fit. It is making sure those folks gel together and that they can make it happen.
That's awesome. We have a really tiny spot. I don't think I could pack 125 people in our food truck if they were all packed like sardines in that food truck. But it is possible to have too many people. And these are great questions, by the way. I don't know what prompted these questions, but these questions are really good. Yeah, it's actually challenging me and making me think through some stuff. Hey, there's Mr. Mavianello behind the scenes. But it's totally possible to have too many people. We have a food truck, and we just purchased a food trailer. We have a food trailer, and we just purchased a food truck back in May. We're going to be acquiring another food truck here pretty soon. We were out in Daytona at the Costa Sunglass Eyewear Company, and this is going to sound silly compared to 125, but we packed 4 people into a food truck, which is a lot for just a food truck space, but it required every bit of those 4 people. And then there's days where we're not as slammed, we're not as busy as we were at Costa Eyewear that day. So it might only require 2 people. And then if I try to pack 4 into that truck on a day that only requires 2 people, it becomes chaotic. It's inefficient. You're bumping into each other. The job's not being done as well. You kind of have somebody who's just kind of on the clock, but they're not really generating any productivity, and you don't really want those things. But it's a fine balance for our business, because a big aspect of what we do is mobile. So next Saturday we'll be outside of Ben Hill Griffin Stadium for the Gator game against Auburn. I'm going to have to pack a food truck with maybe 5 people, which again, it sounds silly, But 5 people in a small truck being able to get the job done is super important, to be able to turn those orders over in time, make sure all of our customers and guests are happy and that sort of a thing. So for us, it's a fine balance. We go back and forth between how many people we need for different events and occasions.
And they better like each other. Being in that small spot.
Or they're going to learn to.
They're going to learn to, that's right.
Thank you. Jack S. asks, how is it possible to work on a team with someone you don't like?
Ooh. That's a great question. I've had that experience throughout my entire life. I think that's just a part of maturity. You're honestly not going to like everybody all the time. I mean, the folks that we've hired and that I work with now, I like all of them. I'm not going to put myself in a situation to hire people that I really don't care for. Kind of creates unnecessary problems. But I think it boils down to maturity. At a certain stage in life, you realize a big part of going to work is about priorities and necessities. You've got bills to pay, you've got gas to put in your vehicle, you've got food to put on the table. You're not going to like everybody, and you're going to be hard pressed to say, well, I'm going to quit this job because there's someone I don't like. I'm going to go find another job where I like everyone. That may not be very realistic unless you're doing like one of those jobs where it's just you working in a home office by yourself, and you might even get tired of yourself every now and then. But I think it's just a part of maturity. Trying to find a way to work well with people is more important than liking everyone, and just getting the job done. It goes back to teamwork. You might play on a team. You might not like a person on your team, but it is possible to play together well for the common goal of winning. So,
And we focus on everything that he said, and what I add to that with our crew is I'm less worried about them necessarily liking each other, but we're going to work toward respecting one another. Respecting their position, respecting what their job at hand is. And we do see it. I'm just telling you, we see it constantly. People taking a great job, a great opportunity in front of them, they pack it up and they leave. And when you're asking why, one person out of 125 they don't care for.
Yep.
And what a shame that is, because a big part of this maturing process and learning is you are going to run across all different types and all different people. So if you try to find the good in people, usually you find it. You still may not like them. You may not go out and have a Coke with them. But in the 8 hours that you're going to work together, you can figure out how to respect their position, respect your position, and you can make it through that way.
Thank you. Lastly, Alexis asks, what is the best advice you can give a middle school student about working on a team?
Best advice, middle school student, and these are fantastic questions. Best advice is, I'm hanging around this word lately because there seems to be miscommunication. We always talk about communication's key and miscommunication. I've kind of got this new theory I've been rattling in my head and presenting to classes lately. I think it's less that we're having miscommunication and we're having more missed intent. And what I mean by that is, are we going into a situation with the mindset of, does this person have great intent? And maybe I'm misunderstanding the message, not the words, but I'm missing their intent. So an example, if you're outside and you go to run in the street and your mom screams at you, stop, don't run in the street. Are you going to get your feelings hurt because she yelled at you? What was her intent? Her intent was for you to not get hurt. So her intent of yelling at you in that moment was out of love. So if you listen to the words and forget or miss the intent, that's where I think miscommunication majority of the times happens. So when a leader has to correct you, they're not yelling at you. Right. I'll have employees come to me and say, so-and-so yelled at me. And I'll go, time out. They raised their voice? They screamed at you? Because that's not our culture. That's not who we are. No. They told me I was doing it wrong. You know what I mean. That's very different than getting yelled at, right? So I think if my biggest advice to you guys growing up and maturing through this process is really try to focus on what the intent is between what's being communicated. I think it solves a lot of problems.
Okay. So being a team player, how to be a great team player, how to be a good fit, I think a lot of that boils down to knowing your position really well, and being able to play that position well, like knowing what's required of you. I love football, and if my position on the team is a quarterback, I better know something about football and how to throw it and how to put the right arc on it so it drops down to the receiver's arms to where he can catch it well. And I think any position in life, that's what it boils down to. Really, really understanding what your role is on the team. Not trying to play someone else's role. If I'm the quarterback, I better not be trying to go out there and be the wide receiver, or there's not going to be anyone there to throw the ball. Our team's going to lose. And when I think of teamwork, I mean, I'm a nice person, but I'm very competitive when it comes to team stuff. If you give me a football and I'm out in the front yard with my 4 little boys, like, we're having a good time. I want to win, and they're the same way. It's just something that's built into us.
You're stiff arming them. You're not stepping them. I'm going to come by your house, right? That's going to be quite a sight.
I think it's something that entrepreneurs have, business owners, leaders. We have that competitive edge to us because we want to win. We do it respectfully. We don't do it in a begrudging way, but we want to win. And I think knowing your position and then just being a really hard worker to be able to be the greatest team player you can, studying. You have to study your position, study what you want to do if you want to be a great team player. And you've got to have ambition to win. I don't think you can be a great team player if you don't care about winning. I think we make a mistake sometimes when we say it's not important whether you win or lose. Maybe at a certain age and maybe at a certain stage in life that's important, but you don't want to start a business and say, oh, it's not really important if I win or lose at this business. It is important. So you have to have a deep desire to want to win. You have to have a deep desire to want to win fairly and honestly. If you are a rule breaker on the way to winning, that's going to come back and bite you. It's going to come back and embarrass you. It's going to come back and humiliate you. You're going to hurt a lot of people. So you got to play. There's boundaries on a field for a reason. You've got to play within those bounds. If you catch the ball and you're out of bounds, it might have been a beautiful one-handed catch, but if it's out of bounds, it doesn't matter. So you've got to want to be a great team player. Being a great team player is something that I'm very passionate about. A family is a team. I understand my role in my family. And a group of friends, that's a team. You've got to know what your role is as it relates to your other friends. Some of you guys have friends that look to you as their big brother or as their big sister. Are you ready to kind of fulfill that role and make a difference in that person's life and win?